Hey there, gamer! Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shotgun is one of Mimimi's 3 masterpieces and next in line for episode 2 of Can You Platinum. The main hurdle towards Platinum is the trophy Complete Mastery, which requires you to obtain all badges. There are 9 badges for each of the game's 13 missions, with each, in turn, representing a challenge you have to overcome. In this video, I will complete all of these challenges except for the speedruns, because that will take a whole other video. Nevertheless, let's get this show on the road with the first mission. I've already tested the waters a bit, so all that's left is beating this one on hardcore, the highest difficulty, which will be the only difficulty you see in this video. Shadow Tactics is a top-down, real-time stealth game where you play as a diverse group of medieval Japanese characters in the service of their Shogun. The choice is yours. Steal past unsuspecting enemies, extinguish them and hide the remains, or get spotted and die. Our first character is the shinobi Hayato. He's quick and agile, uses his trusty Pebble no Jutsu to distract guards, and his even trustier Shuriken to distract the blood flow from their throat to the soil. Soon he meets up with Mugen, a samurai as proud as any. He knows that no man could resist the call of the sake, just as they can't resist being swept off their feet by his powerful sword wind. The mighty samurai with a good heart and the dexterous mercenary shinobi, together they make a fearsome team. Finally, Takuma. He's an old man with a gun. In terms of gameplay, this mission is mostly just a warm-up. Getting caught in the bright green area of an enemy's view will cause you to get spotted. In the darker part, you will only get spotted while standing up, but you can crouch through it just fine. The hardcore difficulty causes you to get spotted more quickly, thus restricting you on your options and requiring overall better timing and more creativity if you want to avoid alarm. Having your characters and their unique abilities work together is the key here, for which a powerful tool is provided with Shadow Mode. Here, you can save actions for each character and execute them all at once to unfold your full potential. Obviously, the first mission doesn't provide much of a challenge, as do the following 2, where I've already obtained most badges, so let's briefly discuss the mechanics they introduce and then get to gaming. Somewhere on Nakasento Road, Hayato meets a curious girl. Her legs are as dexterous as his, her mind is sharp, and her quick work with a blade speaks of a difficult past. The thieving cat uses a lure whistle to attract her prey, and a trap of her own design to fell animals much bigger than her. Hayato takes a liking to her, and thus she enters the service of the Shogun. Before Yuki can get cold feet, she's already trudging through the snow in Imai town. Life is like a windmill. It goes round and round. Here they encounter samurai for the first time, and of all the Shogun's blades, only Mugen's can cross theirs. Anything else won't end well. Their powers are very scary. Using the strategy of absent-mindedly walking on snow and then being rewarded for it, I plow through another easy mission so we can get to the interesting part. Some missions have badges that are mutually exclusive or, in my opinion, not feasible in one run. For that reason, I played a few missions twice, like Escape from Mount Tsuru. Here we are introduced to the lovely shinobi Aiko, who uses her perfume to temporarily blind enemies. She can also find disguises for herself, which allow her to walk around unnoticed unless a samurai spots her, since they're based enough not to recognize pretty privilege.
Kill yourself, I hate gamers.
However, in the first run I don't use a disguise, even though I'm picking both up, and I don't ring the bell, which would cause many of the civilians wandering around to leave and make the map easier. Getting inside by climbing some vines with Aiko and obtaining the first disguise is trivial for someone of her profession. However, Mugen's heavy armor doesn't allow him to follow her across the rooftops, and so he needs a little assistance to make his way inside. None of them would harm a civilian if it can be avoided, so I'll try to adhere to this principle. If you knock them out and hide their bodies, they stay inside, so I treat some of them to a good and proper, traditional Japanese party before grabbing the second disguise. I struggled the most in this part right here with 2 guards facing each other and a patrol walking around. I wanted to take them out to have an easier way back and more space to work with, but this proved to be challenging until this happened.
人たりとも生かしておけん。
用心深くね。
From there, it's standard fare until we reach our target, the old man. Having lost his leg, his movement is limited and he can't be expected to assassinate like the youth, but he'll prove to be useful in other ways. Call me the bird, the way I'm flying so free. I just got spotted. Oh right, I forgot, you're the VIP guest to our party. Yeah, the first limo's on the house. Anyway, we're out. The second time around, we may only kill enemies with Aiko while wearing a disguise. I switched to the non-lethal melee option and brawl my way past the initial set of guards. After parking Mugen in some bushes, getting Aiko back inside the same way as before is easy enough. However, knocked out guards wake up very quickly. Therefore, it is time to employ one of my most sacred strategies. JD's Plane of Oblivion. Throwing unconscious guards into a place they can't escape from causes them to despair and permanently gets rid of them in a non-lethal way. To this, a haiku. Towering above, bridge connects all but my life. Waft of perfume. With the peasants out of the way and Aiko in disguise, I can employ the weapons of a woman freely, and soon enough a path is clear for Mugen to join in. Not long after, we're at the end again, and with a bit of an unorthodox offensive, reaching the old man is no problem. On my way out, reinforcements block the way, but they're bugged out, so I can take them out without resistance. And that's all badges on mission 4. In Yabu Castle, we have to assassinate Lord Yabu, which I'll do without touching water, poisoning or shooting him, while killing everyone. From this mission onward, everyone has a handgun, which is mostly used on samurai because it stuns them for a while and allows them to be killed normally. I don't have too much to say about missions where I kill everyone since it's not that interesting. Sure, sometimes hammering a crack into the enemy setup can be demanding, but once you've done that, everything just gets easier and easier with less enemies around. The biggest issue is this island here. Remember, I'm not allowed to touch water, so I came up with this play. Here, I first shoot the guard in the back with the old man's long-ranged silenced rifle, then shuriken the patrolling guard before he can turn around, while Yuki kills her man and the old man throws a bomb at the duo in the back. While this is going down, I quickly switch to Hayato to take out the remaining guard. And, since we're already talking about the old man, his final ability is Kuma, the Tanuki, who can be used to call guards toward him to lure them far away. I clear out the rest of the enemies, including Yabu's personal samurai guard, then take out my target and learn that killing him will always cause an alarm. Unwilling to deal with even more stuff to kill, I knock him out, carry him all the way back to the beginning of the map, complete my mission and escape before reinforcements can show up. Back for more, this time I need to poison Yabu and be out of the estate before he dies. First I learn that time doesn't actually stop during cutscenes. Afterwards, I sneak Yuki all the way to the island where the tea is served, which is very doable if you're allowed to swim. Some trap Shananas, this is short for shenanigans, later, and the island is freed. I grab the tea, poison and serve it, and then ring the bell before taking what I consider to be the fastest route out of the castle. It's close, but I'm too slow on my first try. Thankfully, my little girly legs carry me to victory the second time. Done and done. Spies in Hida Village is our first nighttime mission. Initially, I wanted to do all the badges at once, which includes killing no one and extinguishing all torches. However, guards that spot an extinguished torch will try to relight it, and without killing anyone, there's very little I can do to stop them permanently. Unlike civilians, unconscious guards will come back out of buildings you've hidden their bodies in. Ultimately, this means there are a lot of lights to extinguish, and I'm not talking about torches. I'm very lucky here and managed to listen in on the conversation at the stables before their disgruntled neighbor arrives to complain about the late night light show. Somewhere along the way, I ate all the mistreated villagers simply by being a murder hobo, and I always wonder what the real life implications of this would be. I mean, in the previous mission I killed an entire castle's worth of guards, over 80 people. That's no shadow tactic, that's high noon tactics. Oh, that's the next game. Okay. Anyway, this game is slowly presenting me with more challenging setups like this tavern right here, where timing, teamwork, and a good use of shadow mode are of the essence. This guy dies in a horrific accident and his partner's just like, huh, crazy. After extinguishing all the lights in the village, I listen in on their general, then take him out for an Easter egg and finish the mission. In my second no-kill run, I sneak past the early sections of the level and send out Aiko through the water since I'm now allowed to swim to grab a disguise I'm now allowed to use. I can't quite make it past the setup, so I send Yuki as support to distract the guard at the top of the stairs, grab the disguise, run back to the stables, listen to some samurai sexy talk, and then run to the very end of the level to hide in this bush and listen to some more samurai suave talk. I lost my disguise while doing so, wherefore getting out proves to be quite challenging, but nothing good old Pebble no Jutsu couldn't solve. And I did all of this so fast that I did, in fact, beat the speedrun time for this mission as well. Kusoge. That means fucking gaming! Up next is Suganuma Rescue, where we're not allowed to climb anything nor step on any loud surfaces. Loud surfaces are all around in the early part of the level, and at first I thought combining these two badges was impossible, as I struggled to find a way out of the fields. Eventually, I discover a way past the edge of the fields, and from here I somehow need to get to the top of the mountain. This is in the top right, where the villagers are being held captive, but the only way I could find is to swerve around the leftmost part of the map, past the captured Mugen to avoid all climbing, as well as some very inconveniently placed guards. After this detour, Yuki and the old man are almost where the villagers are being kept, but they need to get past either the straw hats guarding the stairs or the samurai on the barricade up the main path. I'll need to be very creative for this one. Yuki and the trap are a really strong combo to take out several patrols before I can start freeing the villagers. The issue is that freeing the first group causes an alarm, so I go back to a previous save, rescue the second guy as well, and together we escape the cruel rebels. With these peasants in tow, I walk back to where Mugen is being held and trade one samurai's life for another's. The final section of the map is now teeming with guards, which will require some creativity considering I'm not allowed to pick up Mugen's equipment. Thankfully, rockfall seems to be a common cause of death in medieval Japan, since no one bats an eye at it. Yuki does what Yuki does best, while the old man does what he does best. And soon enough, we're out. All of these restrictions really forced me to get creative in some parts, but that's all badges in one go. Attack on Kanazawa is really just the Hayato show. He's the only one allowed to kill anyone, with his roadie Mugen sometimes helping him with a setup. Normally, killing an officer would get rid of a bunch of enemies as your allies push them back, but that's not allowed, so a bit of careful maneuvering will have to suffice. Beware, the enemies are always on the lookout for you. Anyway, call me the broom the way I'm sweeping this courtyard. Next, I try collecting 4 unconscious guards to blow them up with an explosive barrel. This turns into a complete fiesta. There are still a few too many guards around, so every play I try to make usually ends in a bunch of reloading, and once I get it to work, something else happens to mess up my plans again. Finally, after updating my plans several times, everything falls into place, so now all I need is the barrel. I task Mugen with supervising nap time while Hayato is out there putting on the show of a lifetime. The two men switch places so Mugen can grab the barrel. Whatever, it's been way too long, let's be done with this. Okay, let's do some redecorating, et voila! I failed the mission. I reward all the extras of the Hayato show handsomely and move ahead to the end of the level for some preparations. Don't worry now, the show's not over yet and the Hayato show is sure to come to your town as well and fascinate both the young and the elderly. With the whole gang now inside the castle, I reckon it's time for a little showdown with the enemy general.
反乱をこれにて終焉へと導く
The Hayato show. Book your tickets now. In Kage-sama's camp, we need to capture what is believed to be the leader of the rebellion. For this mission, everyone is here. Going into this, I had a plan. The first step is shooting the guy in the fucking face, ladies and gentlemen. That's also the final step. In reality, I want to do this run without stepping on loud surfaces and without selecting Mugen. Not selecting Mugen is particularly annoying because it will happen by accident and just lose you progress randomly. I overcomplicate this mission and spend a lot of time getting Aiko all the way from the bottom to the top of the map, only to be spotted by a guy with eyes on his butt cheeks. Then I run back the same way with Hayato, Yuki and Aiko and take out some key guards to gain access to the center of the camp. With distractions from all three, I find an opening to knock out the target and I am able to carry him just far enough to trigger the ambush. In a second run, I now need to kill everyone and hide all bodies. The issue is that there are only very few places to hide bodies in this mission scattered around the center of the map. I go to town on every guard I find and collect them all in neat little piles. Once I've cleared out the map some more and got the badge for killing 4 guards with 1 grenade, it's time to open the dance floor for the mother of all party parties. Can't drive? Don't worry. We even got a shuttle bus. Honestly, this isn't even worse than your average disco. With everyone now accommodated at the great party, I take a last look over the map in case I missed someone and end the mission. And I didn't get the badge for hiding all bodies. Upon reloading, it doesn't seem like I missed someone, so I go online to check if the badge is bugged. Apparently, throwing an unconscious civilian into a hiding spot will void the trophy. Some say you can rectify this by throwing a rock on top of their hiding place. Well, can't argue with those results. After having been captured, we're back at Mount Tsuru for the next one. Since I'm not allowed to reclaim any character's gear, my options in this mission are very limited. Between opening a new JD's Plane of Oblivion and just yeeting them off the mountain, I free Hayato, Yuki and the old man. There's a group of 3 guards in front of this bridge and if you try to sneak past them, they will notice. Thankfully, Hayato's Pebble no Jutsu distracts them enough to squeeze by. I do the same for Yuki and, in hindsight, I could have just done it for the old man as well, but instead I move on to the next section where I knock out guards left and right and send them to a lofty grave. With Aiko freed as well, I return to pick up Yuki's grandpa from his lymph drainage or whatever. I shoot a guy, remember that I'm not allowed to shoot people, and narrowly avoid having to start over again, as I have only 1 quick save remaining before this incident. Finally, with the entire place in an uproar about an old man having forgotten his weird pet dog, we escape. I don't want to spoil the story too much, but let's just say we won't be seeing Mugen anymore. The mission is not over, however. The mission is not over, however, as we're back at the temple from earlier, where the difficulty now ramps up. There's only one way inside across the main bridge, and pretty much everyone is watching it. No matter what I try, it doesn't succeed, so at one point I just dash on through, and of course that would work. From there, taking out a sizable amount of guards with Aiko is easy enough until the whole gang is almost at the exit. I again spend, or rather waste, a ton of time trying to get this samurai kicked by an ox, only to resign in the end and clear a path for the old man, the old-fashioned way. This mission took quite a while and I just want to finish it and I got spotted. Let's do it again. Anyway, we're out for good this time and just under the speedrun requirement with a crisp 75 minutes. Now, the old man can't live without his friend Kuma, so I return to bring him back home. As a thank you, he gifts the old man some ammo to free Yuki first. In the following mission, Matsuyama City, there's 1 badge for not climbing anything and 1 for extinguishing no lights. I try to combine these 2 in 1 run but quickly realize that that's not gonna happen. So, the 2 shinobi under my control leap into the night sky and traverse the rooftops of the heavily guarded city with ease. Being allowed to use a disguise, it's very easy for Aiko to listen in on a seductive samurai talk. Several people also get squished under mysterious circumstances, which yields me another badge. Squish! After having snuck across the bridge that goes over the water I'm not allowed to swim in, I enter the second part of the level where I have to abduct this weeb who's being accompanied by 2 samurai at all times. I wasn't sure yet how I would approach this, but when a samurai spot a civilian I had knocked out, they just left my boy alone. With that, the plan has become clear. I prepare the backyard and rent a masseuse. In an ironic twist of fate, she is the one getting a massage from me until my target arrives.
近づくな助けてくれただでは置かないやったぞ
すぐに彼を連れてボートへ
ここ一帯を捜索しろどこに行ったんだ
This really couldn't have gone any smoother and within seconds, we're out. Upon our return, everything is now allowed except for climbing. I choose the left path through the first part of the mission and grab a disguise here only to be confronted with a completely impassable wall of houses. Walking across the main street is suicide even as a disguised Aiko, so I have to run all the way back to the other side of the map. Here, my progress is halted again by a samurai at the other end of the street. To get past this, I have Aiko extinguish the light, which prompts the samurai to approach and relight it. Hiding in this corner, I have a narrow time frame to put on my disguise again, and manage to do so after a few tries. From there, it's close enough to get past the samurai with the help of Aiko's perfume. I can't take him out, however, because of the guy on top of this building I can't reach. I decide to sacrifice Hayato's shuriken to give me the opening I need to get rid of the samurai. It really shouldn't have worked, but I managed to get his body out of there, and from here, the enemy setup crumbles together. After that, it's some spicy samurai talk, a little bath to cool off from that, and the same setup as before to obtain the last badge for this mission. The game's penultimate mission on Miyogi Pass has me carry the guy I just caught all the way up the hill to the Shogun's tent. I'm not allowed to drop him, so Hayato is out of the equation, and I'll have to kill everyone carrying a torch. Good thing the game gave every single samurai on the map one. This is again one of those missions where I effectively kill everyone. And it's not even particularly difficult at that. The combination of night and snow makes it devilishly easy to leave some tracks somewhere and end up with a triple kill. This is the perfect terrain for Yuki in particular, who can get incredible value out of her little trap here. Taking out the samurai, especially the duos, also doesn't give me a lot of trouble with the right setup. In between decimating the Shogun's men, I grab some miscellaneous badges and prepare everything for Hayato's ascent. Once the time has come, I send him up along the main road, now guarded solely by glazed eyes and hands cramped around unlit torches. It's time for the finale at Sunpu Castle, where we have to eliminate the leader of the rebellion without using Aiko's skills and without killing anyone. Aiko and Yuki, as well as Hayato and the old man, start out together and need to steal a key from a samurai to enter a well that connects the inner and outer castle. And yeah, this mission is really hard, even on normal difficulty without extra challenges. A lot of enemies moving around, set up in such a way that there's always 3 people covering every square centimeter. Aiko's perfume would be incredibly useful here to deny some sidelines, but Pebble no Jutsu will have to suffice. I get Aiko, Yuki and Hayato inside after quite some time, but now the real fun begins. The old man has to make his way past all of this. My only saving grace here is this well. You can dump unconscious bodies inside and they will disappear without it counting as a kill. Thus begins the long process of finding guards I can knock out and carrying them all the way over to this well to get some space to breathe. This takes so long in fact that the speedrun time has already been exceeded before I ever move the old man one step. Nevertheless, more opportunities are slowly expanding before me, and after a long time of setting this up, the old man finally sets into motion and moves past the enemy defenses. Grabbing the key and stepping through the gate to the next section are both doable, although positioning a guy directly in front of the only entrance into a place is pretty mean. The game is kind enough to have another well in this section too, so I can slowly depopulate it and give myself some room. The worst thing here is the guy on top of this tower, because for some reason I'm not allowed to enter and therefore can't get up to him, and he covers a lot of space from up there. In an effort to promote accessibility for the elderly, I first use Yuki's lure to call down several guards before walking further up myself. I develop an efficient and reliable 3-step method to depopulate the space. Step 1 is knocking them out. Step 2 is throwing them down 2 5-meter high walls unharmed. Step 3 is carefully transporting them to the next well for safekeeping. It's slow, very slow, but it works. Soon enough, there's ample space to move everyone up and climb into the well one by one. Inside the inner castle, we now need to ascend all the way to the top towards our target. Funnily enough, the biggest issue here is the initial section where 6 to 7 guards are all watching the way I need to take. My solution is to lure 4 of them away with Kuma and knock them out so I can slip past before they wake up again. From there, the tower is only a well-aimed stone's throw away for Yuki and Hayato. Climbing up is, for the most part, no big issue. I open up a certified JD's Plane of Oblivion and before you know it, I'm at the top. I knock my target out and begin going all the way back down again. Okay, back up we go. Did I just get spotted by the guy who's stuck in JD's Plane of Oblivion? Well, I can hear the call of the sea, and before I claim my final badge, let me tell you what Hayato's final words to his adversary were, gazing at the gentle waves below. Stay Yoshako.